All right, everybody. How's everybody doing? If you're watching this, we're just trying to test out Lions Talk Live's ability to go live and obviously conduct streams with everybody out there. So forgive me if I'm not proficient at this yet. It's just a chance for me to learn, go through it, run some of the ups and downs of learning, and get ready for the NFL draft, which we all know is roughly only 40 days away. So as I continue to look and feel for all the different things I'm going to have to learn, I apologize if I make mistakes. And I'm working with a couple of people that do this on a more regular basis. They're trying to guide me through the steps. But I'm sure, as you're all aware, that when you first start something, you're going to make mistakes. So all right, let's get this going. I'm going to go for just maybe like 5-10 minutes. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Lions this week, what I see out of free agency, and what can this tell us about the upcoming draft. I think we can all agree that the Lions have done a very good job of shoring up any potential holes that they have had. With the addition of a couple people at cornerback, you've shored up a little bit of the offensive line, running back with unfortunately Jamal Williams holding out, I guess you could say, or wanting a little bit better deal than what Holmes and Campbell were willing to give him. So we brought in David Montgomery. The running game seems sound. The one thing I would caution everybody when it comes to the cornerback room is that outside of Sutton, we don't have anybody come the following season. So this season we're sound. So unless we come into the draft and add some players there, we got a whole bunch of contracts expiring. Sorry if I can't yet figure out how to answer questions. I'm assuming I'm going to be able to figure that all out with perhaps a little bit more help from just playing around with these things. I see that we've got 11 people in the chat. I see you guys going on, but again, unfortunately, with just not knowing how to do some of this stuff, I'm just kind of learning on the fly. So apologies about that. All right. So I can't answer questions yet because I don't have that set up. But let's talk about what I think we're going to do with the draft. Number 6 pick with Jalen Carter, I do believe he's going to fall down to number 6. Yes, I get there's ideas that Will Anderson's going to go 3 to Arizona, but I'm going to tell you this more and more. I do believe the Arizona Cardinals are not going to have that spot. I do foresee somebody, maybe Tennessee, among a couple other teams who are going to potentially trade up and get the number 3 pick. The reason why I don't think they're going to be huge on going after Anderson Jr. is just if you check out their linebacker core last year, the players that are returning, plus they just signed the one in free agency. How much money are you going to put into 4 linebackers? And when really in the NFL nowadays, really how often are you going to have 4 linebackers out on the field? It's my anticipation you're really only going to see that on first down and then half of the time on second down. So you're going to invest potentially a third of your salary cap in a position that can only have all 4 gentlemen out there on a very, very limited basis. That's why, to me, it makes sense that Arizona's either going to draft a receiver should they trade Hopkins, or they're going to trade back. With who? I guess we'll wait and see. I do say this. I do think the Washington Commanders have a real opportunity to trade up to number 3 to potentially go after somebody. What are they going to go after? We'll debate that at another time. But if this scenario does play out, then you're going to see quarterbacks go off the board with the first 4 picks. Now, what does Seattle do? I think that Seattle would have the potential to take Carter or Anderson or, Wilson. Either way, that's going to leave probably a position of desire for the Lions. Could we still trade down? Absolutely. But I do think either Anderson or Carter are going to be there. Not going to lie, if it's me, I'm probably not as key on Anderson just because at some point with the defensive ends we drafted last year with the emergence of Houston, Romeo Okwara, he hasn't been cut yet, so you have to assume he's going to be kept at least until July 1st or so. But if he does make the roster and we are going to keep him, then I'm going to say this. How many guys at those positions can you have getting decent playing time? Where would Anderson fit in that group? I get he's a superior talent, but it'd be my personal opinion that you're going to want to see Carter in that scenario, or maybe another end, but probably not Anderson. Okay, I'm not going to keep you guys very long. I'm just going to keep messing with this for a little bit. Apologies if I don't yet have everything set up. Again, just trying to figure it out here. Do see we got some comments. Uh, hey, so thanks, guys. Yep, Brett Bogan, thank you. Just trying to figure this all out as I'm going here. So if you guys do have some questions for me, since I've got that part figured out now, go ahead and throw them in the comments section below. You can, if you got something you want me to address on air while we're here, feel free with it. I've got about, I can stick around for 10 or 15 minutes doing this. I get it's impromptu, but again, just trying to toy with all this. I got some ideas for future broadcasts. I'm going to try to do some things for you guys, the viewers as well. I won't tip it off more than that, but obviously trying to figure this all out. And well, I know more now than I did just minutes ago. So it's a little bit more to this than I anticipated. All right. Well, any questions from anybody out there? I see we got 15 in the room now. Hey, if you can, go ahead and hit that like button and smash it away. Yeah, again, I'm just some dude trying to figure this all out as I go. So, so sorry if I'm not doing great with it, but hey, first steps, right? Baby steps. All right, DJ, boy, I think that's a great question. Is he going to come back? I think it's just going to come down to one simple thing. You know, how much is it going to cost to bring him back? You know, Holmes has done a great job with the limited cap space we've had this year to kind of, I don't want to say manipulate, but work it. So the majority of the contracts, you see the guys we all signed this year, majority of them, not all of them, most of them really only have significant cap numbers a year from now. And that's when the Lions are going to have a whole lot more cap space. So I would love to see DJ come back, but I think they're probably going to have to go a different direction. I think his end of the season, the last 5-6 games are strong enough where somebody's going to take a shot at him, especially with his size, his speed, his explosion, and don't forget his vertical. I mean, the dude can get up and go after it. So if that ankle really is healthy, which it looked like it was the second half of last season, somebody's going to need a receiver. Somebody's going to need a big receiver, and I think Shark's going to get paid. It's just unfortunate. I don't think that we're going to be able to get him, but fear not. I am real hopeful that the Lions, if we cannot retain him, A.T. Perry, if you don't know who this kid is, I'm really hoping that we can get him either late in the second round or with our third round pick. But he's 6'5", runs a 4 point, I want to say, going off the top of my head, 4.45, huge, great hands. You know, he's got the vertical leap, and check out his wingspan. His range for catches is up there with Kelvin. And no, I'm not calling him a Kelvin Johnson player, but I'm saying he's got some traits that genetically and just from a skill standpoint make him very rare. Is he raw? Does he need more development? Yes, he does. But, you know, with some of the players we currently have at receiver, could you take that kid and start slowly working him into getting more and more playing time as he develops, take some of the pressure off him right away? Yeah, I think he'd be a huge, huge win for us. All right, let's see if I can figure out some of these other questions here. If Lions hard pass on Carter, this is from Curtis Wilson. I hope they won't. Do you see them trading down? You know, I'll put this way to you, Curtis. The more one or two of those quarterbacks fall down the draft board, the more that's going to help the Lions if they want to trade down. At the start of this broadcast, I was saying how I think Washington could be a real possibility to trade up. I think, you know, their quarterback position still, in my opinion, is not settled. They've got a lot of talent in different spots, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But they, unfortunately, have not been able to solve their quarterback position. So with new ownership coming in, somebody wants to make a splash, get some good publicity for their new team. Let's face it, this is a business. All NFL teams are. And this franchise has had nothing but really bad publicity for a year, 3 years now. Taking some of the mud off of that with new ownership and saying, hey, we're going to be proactive, go get a new face of the franchise. Just think if Anthony Richardson were to slide down and be available at number 6. I'm going to say this, while the dude is raw, he's going to bring in a lot of good PR for whoever lands him, especially someone like Washington. So my opinion, if Carter's there, you got to take him. To me, he's just a 21-year-old kid who, man, he's had a bad month. Let's face it. He went from winning a national championship to having just nothing but bad since then. I think once you get him past some of the legal things, which sounds like it's beyond him now, you know, he's going to have a 12 months of probation, $1,000 fine, some community service. You get him past that. You put him with the right people around him. And I think Detroit's got the right leadership and locker room. That kid could really be something. And that's what he still is. He's a 21-year-old kid. All right. Brent, I'm with you, man. I suck at technology, but I'm out here on a Sunday trying to figure it out. Move up to 3? Yeah, Brent. I think that's a great question. Do we move up to 3? But here's my question to you. Who do you take at 3? Do you take Carter? Do you take Anderson? Or is there somebody else? And then what are you willing to give up to move up there? Arizona, I think, man, as much as some of these quarterbacks are starting to shine, they're probably in just the best position possible because somebody's going to want to go up there and get ahead of the Colts. I don't think anybody watching this or anybody out in the world is going to be surprised to say, hey, the Colts want to get a quarterback. So seeing who goes off the board 1 and 2, if I know that I've got to get in front of the Colts in order to have a chance to get the guy I want, somebody's going up and doing it. All right, Don, how you doing? Yo, back at you, man. If you got any tips on how to do some of the stuff, throw it at me because I'm learning on the fly, guys. Curtis, no problem, man. Don, our coaching room will get Carter right. Yeah, I'm with you, man. 100%. Not just that, but you think about the players around him. I don't think Carter's a bad guy, but clearly he's, even when he was 19 or 20 and got some speeding ticket before, man, how many people do you know, especially dudes that are alpha males, that get behind that wheel and feel they're indestructible? Now you just won a national championship and you got that already feeling of indestructible. You're on just an emotional high. He's a 21-year-old kid who made some mistakes. He didn't beat anybody up. He didn't do anything that I'm sure most of us watching haven't done. And that's, get behind the wheel and floor it. Hopefully he learns from it. And my guess is, seeing what he did and how he acted at the not the combine, but the private drills and stuff. Way I view it, you saw a guy who was emotional. You saw a guy who was going through depression and probably felt like he had the weight of the world on him. Plus, he probably felt like some responsibility for his teammates and the recruiting coordinator. And I'm not here to say what, he should or shouldn't feel, but I would ask everybody out there, how many of us have been through a moment in life where we got regrets that we really had to learn from being young in life? And I'm hoping that kid can learn from it because he's got the rest of his life ahead of him. If he learns from it and is a better human being, get him in the locker room, man. Support him with all the care that this franchise can throw at him. All right, let's see. Andy, thoughts on Megatron calling Dan Campbell RoboCop? I haven't heard, to be fair, I haven't heard the comments. I know that Megatron or Kelvin did talk about Campbell, but I haven't heard him enough, so I don't really want to comment anything just yet. Brent Anderson, I don't have a trading board to let you know the value. Yeah, that's fair. I think Arizona is going to be able to go up and get some good trade offers. And again, like I talked about, I think Washington, I want to say they're at 16. They've got enough ammunition to be able to come up and trade with us. Getting up to 3 just depends on if I'm Arizona, do I really want to drop back 13 spots? I'm guessing that if Washington comes up to us at 6, or if they go up to number 3 with Arizona, you're going to have to easily give up a first from next year. Do you give up your first and, maybe a third plus something else? That's probably what it's going to take. Love AT, very under the radar. 4th round steal. Yeah, I think the problem with him, in my opinion, is, dude is such a beast. I think you're probably going to see some teams that need receivers, especially big ones like that got breakaway speed. And the guy's got vertical to burn. Plus, if you heard me earlier, check out the dude's wingspan. Check out some of his past game tapes about some of his radius that he can move his hands and retain possession of the ball while catching him. Lob passes, out routes, check out his footwork on some of his in breaks too. That's one thing that I really liked with him when watching his video. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did a mock draft where I had us getting him at, I want to say 81 or something like that. But when I watched the dude, he seems to already have a very good understanding of route tree recognition, which a lot of college guys don't, just because you don't have to go through 3 or 4 or 5 progressions. Now see how he comes out of those routes. And for a dude his size, it's impressive to see that he just doesn't rely only on his size and speed. He's got some technique. So, my opinion, if you want him, you might have to go up and get him in the late second or third. But if we can get him in the fourth, I wouldn't complain. All right. Alone Wolf, do you think the Lions are going to deal with the 18th pick? The Lions are going to. I'm hoping they take the Florida at 18. I'm hoping we can trade back 2 or 3 spots, or just flat out take God, I'm going to kill his name. Osiris Terrace, the just awesome guard from Florida. I want to say he's 340, 6'5", but man, check out his upper body strength and check out his ability to slide laterally either direction. I think, man, if you put him next to Panay and in the middle of that line, you're going to make a whole lot of running backs look good because of that line. But the other part is that play action game, whether it's Montgomery or, I still wouldn't mind us taking a shot at Robinson around 18, but I don't know how you get both of them. That'd be the tough part without giving up both your second rounders and maybe something else. But getting him there, that running game gets deadlier, I should say, and the play action game. Because those linebackers, there's no way they can drop in coverage unless it's an obvious passing down. First and second down, if you keep it reasonable distances on second down, they've got to stay home. They can't give up 3 or 4 yard chunks to whoever's going to come out of the backfield. So it's my hope that at 18, we're considering that kid out of Florida. All right. Did we pass the test? Who knows, man? You guys are doing a great job, so thank you for helping me learn all this stuff. What do you think the Lions are going to do with 18th overall pick? Well, kind of like I just said, I'm hoping they get the kid out of Florida. God, I want to say it's Osiris, but don't hold me to that. Osiris Terrence or Torrance. But yeah, I think he's special. Hopefully we can get them both. All right, Don, what you got? I like Edmonds and the Edwards pickup for, where'd it go? Oh, it slewed up. Okay, hold on. Brad Holmes didn't spend $90 million. Yeah, that's one thing I would say with Chicago is I get they had a lot of cap, but man, you just spent a ton of it on a couple of guys. And those guys, it's not that I don't like linebackers. I get Brad Holmes's general philosophy. If you don't have a defense in front of those linebackers, they're pretty easy to neutralize. If you don't have a secondary, linebackers don't matter either because you can't stop the run and now you can't stop the pass. To me, hey, Chicago wins a bunch of games and they've massively improved. It looks like it worked. But to me, if you got to start with the defensive line and then the secondary and then whoever you've got at linebacker, their job just got a whole lot easier. You'll take a salad and a black coffee. Well, I'll see what I can do for you, man. All right, Brett, totally agree 100% with Bijan pick. Yeah, I get running backs aren't huge in the first round anymore. I get the game's changed, but I also get that dude is special. When you get somebody like Anderson Jr. who comes out and says, man, we knew when playing against him, we've got to gang tackle him. Just think about how much better that play action pass gets, how much the linebackers can't move now. And to me, pro sports are different than college sports, just like college sports are different than high school sports. Every time you get that quarter second, or man, if you're real lucky, that half second difference, it's game changing. Most of us, if we go out there and see, 3, 4, 10, 100 guys running, they're would-be pro athletes in NBA or NHL or NFL, you don't see huge differences. It's the quarter second difference. It's the half second difference in this, that, and the other thing that makes somebody a game changer. And to me, looking at that kid, it's not that there aren't other guys that are vastly different than him at running back, but he's got, in my opinion, he's got more than a quarter second difference. He's got close to a half second difference. The way he cuts, the way he breaks, his catching ability, all of it. In a game of inches, which most pro sports are, you're looking for the guys that have just that slight edge over everybody else. And as long as you've got him on a 5-year rookie deal, and I get the 5th year as an option deal, go for it, man. Go for it and get him, and then find another way to get that Florida kid the guard, because then, and you got a heck of a running back room, because I think we probably all agree this probably is the last year in Detroit. So you already got somebody to replace him. You got depth at running back. I mean, keep your strength strong. Keep that offense going. Demo, yeah, if he doesn't get hurt, I think he's got a real shot to be 1,000 yards plus probably around 500 yards receiving. I mean, the dude is a weapon, and we all know Chicago's offensive line is not great by any stretch of the imagination. And look what he did for a couple years behind that line. Justin Fields, I get, when I say like the last 10 games of last season, he was something. He was something, with his legs and everything. But Montgomery with I think what we've got at the line, what we've got on offense, that guy, he could have a pretty good year. OT and Monty and Pete John, scary good. Yeah. Brett, you're right. And the more weapons you have around, whether there be receivers, quarterback, offensive line, you can only stop so many. And I don't know how old most of you guys are, but, I'm 50, and I'll say this. The 90s Lions, we'll say 91 through 96, if they had a quarterback, there might not have been a better team than the NFL. They had weapons everywhere. And our team now is starting to look more and more like that. You've got a solid offensive line, which hopefully we can make better. Receivers, hopefully we can make better. Tight ends, I get they're not used a ton in our offense, so a lot of their stuff is dink and dunk, and defenses forget about them because they're drawn to the other weapons, the more primary weapons. And now if we can get more production out of the running backs, you can only stop so much. All right. Zach Kuntz, yeah, the 6'8" dude, yeah, he had real good times. It's just, my guess is, I would say this to you, Andy, I think he's probably going to go pretty, not middle of the first round, but he's going to go somewhere to, I'd say, the mid second round to late first round. So are the Lions going to take a tight end at that point? I'm thinking with the current administration, that's probably not an option, just like linebackers, probably not. I could see maybe a linebacker with Brad Holmes going late second round, but I don't think any sooner than that. That's just his prerogative. All right. Anybody else? Yep. I'm 50, man. Be 51, next November. So halfway through 50. Or maybe not halfway, but you get the deal. Curtis, yeah. Agree with John, yeah. And it's not that I don't like Swift. It's just, are you going to re-sign him? Unless he can go every game this year and not have injuries. But that's the problem with Swift. We all see his talent. We all see his speed. We all see what he can do. Dude just can't stay healthy. And he's at a position that typically once that tire starts coming off the tread, tread come off the tire, it doesn't come back. And that's the problem with any run back, let alone Swift. Swift just is not a big dude. And every time he takes those hits, unlike some other people like Jamal is solid. I get he's not here anymore, but it's hard to hurt him because of all the body armor he genetically has. Swift, unfortunately, if you look at his ankles, you look from his knees down, he does not have a lot of meat on those bones there. There's not a lot of protection for those joints, for the ligaments, etc. You look at his upper body and look at from, I guess, I can't get on the camera, but it's about the mid of the torso up to the lower part of the neck. Look at the difference from just, use Jamal again as an example, and look at Swift, without the pads and everything. The problem with a lot of running backs is if you're a scat back, which, Swift is a little bit more than that, but he just doesn't have the genetic stuff to help protect the rest of his body from hits. So every time he does get hit, it's going to impact him more and more than it is a bigger back. And Robinson, say what you want on him. I wouldn't take him 6, but 18, yeah, that dude's going to give you some years. All right, keep on going down here. I'll try to get a few more of these in. Yes, sir, keep building on the strengths. Yep, I'm with you on there, Brett. Derek, they re-signed Anzalone to help mentor the linebackers. Yeah, I think you're 100%, man. It's not that I hate Anzalone. If you just look at his stats last year, it's going to be hard to find a lot of backers in the middle nowadays that have better stats than that. but I think most of us see he's good. He's just not great. He's not going to take you to the next level out of that position, but he's not going to hurt you. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think where you're going with that is, this year you're going to groom some of those younger backers a little bit more. You're going to maybe add one or two more with the draft this year. And then, Ancelone's deal, by the end of the second year, you can get out of it. Just like most of the deals, if you look at the structures of the contracts, whether it's Montgomery, Jamal Williams deal with the Saints or even Sutton's, if you want out of those contracts, they're not really going to kill you in year 3. So Ancelone's going to fall into that, I think, just because as some of the, Rodrigo, I think Houston's going to move to one of the outside backers. I think he's just better fit there than, being a end, but we'll see. I mean, it doesn't mean he can't be a pass rush end, but I think if you're going to have him, like if you watch the last game of the season when we were in Green Bay, they moved him to the weak side backer spot, and they moved Rodrigo over. So I think you're going to see more of that this upcoming year because you've got to get that dude on the field more than just pass rush specialist. What do you think about let's see, we got the Lone Wolf. What do you think about the kid from week 4, the receiver? Not sure which one that is. So throw me a name if you're listening to me, man. Don, which one is gone, Julian or Romeo? I think it'd be Harris if it's me. Romeo, he's got a little bit bigger contract, but I think it's not, I can't believe I'm saying it's only a couple million, but on the salary cap, it is only a couple million. I'd probably keep Romeo just because you get rid of one of the brothers, you probably got to get rid of both of them. Otherwise, we're all human. You cut my brother, it's going to emotionally impact me in that locker room. All right. Brett, yeah, Gibbs is built like Swift. That's why they dislike about Gibbs. I'd agree with you there. They're very similar. Hopefully he stays healthier, but it's just when I watch players, when I scout players and stuff like that, you've got to pay attention to some of those little details because they do matter. And the difference between the average weight of a backer in, say, D1 college is going to be, 210 to 215. Those extra 10, 15, or 30 pounds you get the NFL, or in some extreme cases, 50 pounds, those hits add up a whole lot faster. No different than watching college football versus high school football. There's a reason why some of the stars in high school aren't stars in college. So I'm with you there, man. All right, Kelly, Matt Ryan is a backup quarterback for the 6th round rookie. Oof. My problem with Ryan, this is just me talking to you guys and giving you my opinion. He looks like he's got PTSD to me. And no, not like he's been in a war or something, but when you watch when people start bearing down on him, where if you look at him 10 years ago or 8 years ago, he would allow himself to take the hits. I feel like the last year or two, man, somebody starts getting within about a yard of him, he is about ready to duck and dive into that dirt. He's at a point where he doesn't want to take hits. So I think it's just the accumulation of his career. He's taken so many hits and big hits, trying to make big plays. He's now a little bit older. He flinches a little bit more. He doesn't stay in that pocket in complete throws under duress. So I'm hoping they can find somebody else. But the other side of it is, are you going to get a rookie who's going to perform better than him? Especially in the 6th round, anybody you're probably taking is going to be a bit of a project. So, all right. Curtis, thanks, man. Hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get you a Mountain Dew. I'm going to send it to you, man. Thank you very much. Derek, what you got? All right. Still don't believe you, but why would someone lie about being 50? Nah, man, I was born in 1972. Been coaching since I was 17, so I think I just finished my 33rd year. So next year will be my 34th year, man. Yeah, so thanks for that, though, man. All right, I guess I'll wrap it up here. Got you guys a little bit. I'll try to schedule the next one, but I think what I'm going to do with at least the foreseeable future with these live events, I'll do them on Sunday nights. I mean, especially this time of year, it's not a lot happening in sports. Most people are probably relaxing and, just trying to chill out or whatever. So maybe like 5 o'clock on Sundays. If you guys got a preferred time, go ahead and throw it in the comments section below. No, I'm not going to make everybody happy, but I'll try to work with y'all and try to make this fun. If you come up with questions or topics, throw them at me or whatever. But if it helps you out, Derek, I'll put it this way. I remember going to the Silver Dome. Gosh, man, I want to say 78 or 79 was probably the first time I went there. And I remember just being, a little kid, and my dad, one of my brothers was with me, and we were sitting up top or up high, and I was scared to death, man, because it looked like a mile down to that field. All right, 6 p.m. Yeah. So anyways, hey, thanks everybody for helping me get through this test process. Again, you guys have times or any questions, throw them in the comment section. I'll try to go through it, but I'll go ahead and later today when I get home, I'll try to schedule it for next Sunday, 6 p.m. And yeah, I guess we'll see you guys all next time. Thanks for tuning in and help me mess with all this. See you all.